Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the European HGC Crucible. I am once again Tetra, and I am of course joined again by Kaldor. And yesterday, we had a new entrant into the HGC Pro Division. You've got a new team to cast.
Yeah, I would have loved a few more maps, to be honest, but it was a pretty awesome 4-0. So great maps, great games. Could have been a few more, but yeah, it was good to see the E-Punks just absolutely dominate. They did a great job there, and we're obviously very happy to finally join the ranks of the HGC teams again.
So let's have a look at the schedule to show you what happened yesterday and what will be happening today. As you can see, E-Punks 4-0'd Monkey Menagerie. Storm Gaming, though, not so lucky. After a great start, they fell short.
A 2-0 to begin with, and then unfortunately for them, the drafting not quite working out anymore, and you could really tell that nerves also started to become a bit of an issue. A lot of the games, they had a significant advantage and that just were not able to make the right decisions. They are overstepped a bit, they got punished for it, and now tomorrow, in the end, victorious.
And on the other side, in North America, later on today, we will be having Simplicity versus the winner of the North American Open Division, Roll20 esports. But me and Kaldor today will be bringing you the winner of the European Open Division, taking down the team that just 4-0'd E-Punks in a 4-1 of their own, and that includes the one-map advantage E-Punks had. It is Holy Bananas, and they will be playing against Roll20 esports. This should be a pretty good match.
Yeah, it definitely should be a tough one for, I would say it's a tough one for Roll20. They struggled a bit. There is more data available on them, so the Bananas could really just data mine all of that, look at the drafts, look at the play styles, and try and find a strategy how they can take them down. Then again, of course, Roll20 has very experienced players, and that's a huge advantage that they will have heading into this series. Holy Bananas have players that played the Crucible in the past, but there's still a huge difference of being used to this environment in HGC. So they have a lot of young players, the Bananas that is, and therefore there is still a chance that nerves are going to play a huge role for them today.
Well, let's see what the teams have to think about their own opponents, and let's see what they have to say about their own chances.
I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. Our communication has improved drastically this week, and the synergy therefore is a lot better, I would say. However, we do not have a lot of information on Holy Bananas, as the last time we saw them play a competitive game was about a month ago. So yeah, we can't really focus a lot on them. We more have to focus on ourselves and just make sure we go in there with a plan and do our best.
We chose Roll20 over the Monkeys because we believe that they are not necessarily the weaker team, but for sure the more consistent team, because they have been practicing for the whole HGC season already, and they have been constantly at the bottom of the HGC standings. It would mean a lot to us qualifying for the HGC. The main part of the team has been trying to do that since over 1 year now, and we've all put so much effort into reaching this goal that this would be a huge accomplishment for us, and it would show us that our hard work finally paid off.
They talk about hard work. Like you said, we have a couple Crucible veterans coming in here. Very similar to how we saw E-Punks. Only E-Punks, they brought in a couple ex-HGC professionals, now just HGC professionals again, and a little bit of Open Division experience themselves. But when we talk about Roll20, they also have a couple of Crucible veterans on their roster.
Yeah, they definitely do, and especially since with Quackness now, they also have someone that can, from the shot calling perspective, really add a lot to the team and has been trying to do that throughout the entire phase. They definitely have an edge heading into this match. But then again, we saw yesterday how hungry the E-Punks were heading into that game and how strong they then performed against the Monkeys. It's definitely something that we could see from the Holy Bananas here today too. For me, the main aspect, again, is nerves. Earth is 15, 16 years old. Olf, as far as I know, is 18. Like, the entire team is really young. So that can be a problem when you're heading into a match where all of a sudden the spotlight is on you. Everybody's watching your every move. And that has been an issue for teams in the past. And especially for the younger players, that might be a bit of a concern here in the long run throughout the series.
Well, let's start off this series by having a look at the battlegrounds. Where will we be going? We're not going to Braxis or Sky Temple. We are, however, going to be going to the Infernal Shrines, first picked by the Holy Bananas.
Yeah, so the first map from them chosen immediately, and just because of what I mentioned a second ago, like nerfs becoming potentially an issue, this is really one of those things in a series, in a big one, where you want to get an early win, because once that you settle in and you're actually playing, that's when you can really shrug off a lot of the issues where you might be nervous, where there might be a little much to adrenaline pumping. So the first map is hugely important for that specific reason. So if the Bananas are able to take the win of Roll20, then I think that argument is basically already out the window.
I think you might be right, but we have to start talking about what we saw in the playoffs, where, as we already mentioned, ePunks were very, very strong looking through the entire Open Division season. Holy Bananas in that final match, very reliant on the Anubarak to incredible effect. One of the best Anubaraks I have seen from any Open Division or lower Pro Division team coming in from Earth.
It's actually a concern that I raised with them too when I talked to them, and I asked them directly, listen, you've been very reliant on the Anubarak plays. Are you in any way concerned that this is something that's going to be targeted in the bans against you to try and just abuse the fact that you are so reliant on that hero? And they just stated flat out, listen, we're aware of it too. We played a lot of Anubarak, but it's not really the only hero that we can play at that front line. It's definitely a strength that we have, but we've practiced with exactly this problem in mind, so that whenever an opponent is willing to dedicate one of the bans towards the hero, we still have follow-up that we can use there. So they are aware of it, they practiced around it, and they are coming now in with a mindset where they're saying, hey, we have strategies that are so strong that even if that's the case, if that hero is banned against us, we still have things to fall back onto.
And it's good to see that kind of adjustment. We'll see how well it works in the starting of the series. Already, a Medivh and a Tyrande banned out on the side of the Bananas.
I also want to quickly highlight that Holy Bananas actually got also a lot of scrims against the proper, like, higher tier HGC teams, especially during the playoff phase. Since, of course, with teams like Dignitas and Team Liquid already qualifying and not really scrimming as much anymore, taking a bit of a break, other teams not being a potential practice partner for top teams since they know they would have to face them within the playoffs, all of a sudden, those teams coming from the Open Division were an absolute valid scrim partner for these teams. So Holy Bananas, as Roll20 have gotten those scrims against top-tier teams, and therefore a lot of practice for them.
So I want to talk about this Diablo a bit coming in from Roll20. During the Open Division, there were 14 bans and 3 picks on Diablo by the Holy Bananas. This, once again, can be lent more towards their reliance on a Anubarak, who can really suffer into a Diablo, but letting it through this time can be a sign of, like you said, that adjustments, those changes and more experience in different tank picks, where they feel a little bit more comfortable against the Diablo now.
I mean, just in general, when you're having a Diablo and a Yrel against you, it's really difficult to break through that front line. And Diablo is a pick for Roll20, especially on Infernal Shrines. The hero has been dominant in HGC Europe. You have Roba-Doba on it as well. The ban against Garrosh is an interesting one, since Roba-Doba is very strong on that particular hero, and oftentimes they've fallen back onto it just in recent weeks. But Diablo is super powerful here too, and then with the Yrel coupled, an incredible front line. It's not going to make it easy for the Holy Bananas to break through that and trying to get a kill there in the backline. Yeah,
Yrel has been responsible for the most wins Roll20 have had on any hero all season. 11 wins and 16 losses, but then again, Roll20 didn't obviously have the best season. They're here. And we still see that Anubarak a little bit squishier against a Diablo, but there is a squishier Malfurion in terms of supports, which can be a fantastic target for the Anubarak.
Now, one of the things that I have to say when I look at Holy Bananas, what really I found amazing is that they don't hesitate. They see an opportunity and they jump on it as a team and make very aggressive plays and get their kills. And this is something that I absolutely appreciate in a team, especially when it comes from the Open Division, that they have the confidence to go in and say, yeah, we're going to get those kills right now. Looking at that draft, it still concerns me a bit that Anubarak is not paired with something that can help out here at the front line. Blaze, for example, can provide the bunker. Yrel is taken away. Exactly like those interactions that we picked up on in the past. But I have seen them play extremely well around the Anubarak engage. Yeah. Then again, I would say in this particular case, I think it's a bit of a risk because on the first map, I expect nerfs to play an issue. And if you just hesitate for a second on that Anubarak right now, and again, Earth is the youngest member of the team, then you can be punished for that. So it's going to make it tricky for them. And personally, I just want to see how they perform on the map number 1. If we're going to see that synergy they showed in the past, or if nerfs are playing a role here and all of a sudden they have a bit of a sync problem between executing strategies and maybe potential kills that it foresees.
So let's jump into this Valor. Yesterday we had a little bit of issues when it was picked by ePunks. It did win in the end, barely, but with 2 health left on the
even
core.
Graham Paqueta said that draft was horrible.
But in this case, this is so much of a better Valor draft, in my opinion. We've got Malfurions, classic healing over time, but then you have Tassadar Shield, the classic combo, and Yorel, classic 35 armor every single time. You are always going to keep this Valor protected in the team fights.
Exactly, and you have Tassadar, of course, too, so now we're having even more AoE, not only through Vala, but also with our Psionic Storms here. Then again, you can try with the Nubarak to go in, get the cocoon off, and then try and go for the kill, and that's what the Holy Bananas are going to try and do as we're heading into game number 1, the best of 7.
And on the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is going to be hailing from the Pro Division, Roll20 esports with Shad on that Malfurion. Quacknix is going to be playing the Tassadar. Chris is on that Vala, a classic here. Robodoba on Diablo, and Zarmony is bringing out the Yorel.
And over to the right side, we have the Holy Bananas here, the challengers coming from the Open Division. Ulf currently playing on Dehaka for the side lane again. Gugush on Reyna with the ranged DPS. Guro on Hanzo. Juf playing support here with Deckard Kane, the Polish players, and then the French Earth here with Nubarak. 15 years old, youngest player here so far on the team. A very, very young team, and as we heard before, they worked hard to get this opportunity to find themselves in the Crucible again. But can they really take it? Already the pressure against Hanzo. Guru in trouble.
Good
but a
drag.
Great drag. Ulf again immediately with the play here. Already showing that just recently when he subbed in on the side of Granite Gaming, and now once again the Dehaka play from him. Great start for them into this match.
That's got to be a good morale boost as they already set themselves up to begin putting the pressure onto the lanes. Holy Bananas with Dehaka heading up to the top to lane against Tassadar, because Tassadar has to hold for Yorel because she died, meaning he can't join the rotation. So that aggression you would expect, trying to trade out the Tassadar shield with Valor, can't exist.
Yeah, Ulf is definitely one of the players that a lot of the audience is going to look towards now. We have seen him in HGC already as a sub player. And the German player is even expected to be picked up by a team if they don't qualify here today. He's definitely one of those side laners that everyone is looking towards. And his performance in HGC, when he subbed for Granite Gaming, was absolutely stellar. He's definitely going to be one of the backbones for the team today and one of the leaders. We heard him earlier in the interview. He himself, 18 years old, and we're going to find out how much of an impact he can have on that side lane, playing against Zarmony today.
And we're certainly going to be seeing a multi-shot Valor build coming in from Chris. For starters, it's just so nostalgic to see Chris playing that Valor. It was one of the classics from him back in the day. But with his composition, great AoE, he's already got the hot pursuit, so not going into Hungering Arrow. It is just great on the objective.
Earth again, also at the front. Yeah, also when you're talking about Vala, Chris was the one who really made that arrow build just so popular. But as you said, this is a map where the multi-shot build gives you just so much more simply for the shrine control itself.
Speaking of arrows, explosive arrow. The more classical choice on this map by Hanzo, as it's better for the shrine clear once again. And Nubarak sticking fairly standard as well.
Now, there's still one thing that I want to quickly highlight here, and that's the level 4 tail on Tassadar. We talk about that a lot. We have with Tracer Life Leech normally coming in, which is exactly what we're seeing from Tassadar now in this Vala composition. I personally have to admit that with comps like this, I'm a much bigger fan of getting the extra armor on Tassadar. It helps you to keep the front line alive too. Then again, we have a very strong, powerful front line already with Yorel and Diablo, but especially when you're expecting burst damage to come out, you can do a lot with simply stacking to the armor. Of course, the life leech on the auto attacks helps a lot, but it's always dependent on you getting these auto attacks in. And with Tracer, that is much more likely than with Vala, depending on how much pressure is put on her. So oftentimes we see in a composition like this armor taken, but right now they really believe in Chris's ability to just go the extra mile, go a little bit deeper, just to that self-sustain that the shield would offer him.
I mean, that obviously changes once you hit level 20, but if you're all planning your composition around getting level 20 and you're not running the Z-bow, then you're doing something a little bit wrong. Good drag by Ulf, turning it round. Robodoba gets dove. The root is fantastic, but he's just too tanky, activating that soul shield as well to keep him alive.
Yeah, Earth immediately with the engage here. Now the entire team going for the quick reset at the fountain, tapping quickly, and then trying to re-engage here. Let's see if they can maybe enter that shrine again, because so far Roll20 has taken the lead in the minions.
holding the position. Holy Bananas creeping forward though as Roll20 trying to force them off this point, but Ulf just hiding in this pitch. They've got full vision of him thanks to Tassadar, but he's just such a risk to go up against exactly for that reason if he can land that drag. But this time he doesn't. Immediate turnaround, but Earth looking to peel for his side laner there, and Ulf is able to escape.
Earth missing a stun, but at the same time, it was an immediate reaction from him. Once the engage happened onto Ulf, he was there right away saying like, yeah, we need to keep the Haka alive here. And they are engaging heavily into the shrine now. Actually catching up with Roll20 on the minion stacks, doing a great job here. And with such a squishy front line, that's not an easy feat.
They're diving in. Robodova takes the initiative and moves forward, but Gugush, he gets sniped by Chris, but Chris is dove in really far forward, eats so much damage from Guru, but it's still going to be a 1-0.
Yeah, Chris is able to walk away from this one, doesn't get punished for it. Earth gets flipped over in, makes the re-engage happen, though the stun comes out against Zarmany. The drag connects, they're trying to go for Urel, but they cannot get the kill.
Zarmany survives through this, all forced back, and with the man disadvantage, it will be Roll20 taking the double dice advantage, and they're going to be moving into the top lane.
Heavily fought over Punisher #1 here. Roll20 with a kill against Reyna, barely able to get it, and a lot of that really hinged on Chris going in deep. Risk being punished by him and being killed off himself, but able to escape here, so perfect plays on his part to make this happen. Now the defense on the side of the Holy Bananas trying to burst that Immortal down as fast as they can. The Punisher, of course.
Punisher creeps forward, it's taken down the front wall, but it's already very low. Reyna being used to fantastic effect with Hanzo to clear that up, and down it goes. Barely any damage done to the fort, but that's about as much as you can really expect against this style of composition in the early game.
Yeah, I have to admit that especially the position that the Bananas took on the shrine, you have to respect how much they really were able to establish a presence there, considering that if you compare their front line and their sustain that they have against the double support Urel Diablo lineup that we see on Roll20's side, it surprised me that they were able to establish that position on the shrine in the first place. Roll20 much more sustainable if you look at what they have, so they will try to get the better shrine position in every single one of these fights and force the Bananas to engage into them.
There goes the mercenary camp, nice and easy. And the Holy Bananas, the fact is, being forced to forcing them to engage into you isn't the best plan because you are against a Nubrak, but it is something you have control over. Because you have this Diablo, you have reactionary overpowers and stuff like that. Speaking of overpowers, they completely overpower Hanzo, a Clutch Root on the end of the Diablo engage there.
I mean, you expect that a Nubrak goes into you. That's like one of the plays that you can definitely punish him for. That's one of the main arguments why we oftentimes mention the Urel in conjunction with the Nubrak, since Urel can engage together with him. But establishing the shrine presence for Roll20 is, I think, exactly what they need to do here. And then Holy Bananas, of course, will try to make the engage, but that's where the two tanks are really just... It's their duty to make sure that they're anchoring the position that gets established by the rest of the team. You have Tassadar, you have Malfurion and Vala who can all go straight for the clear on those minions. Urel can help too, but as long as Diablo anchors the play and waits for Nuborak to make his move, you will be in a position where you can get a huge lead on the objective.
Classic talents coming in from pretty much everyone. The one that has variation sometimes would be Malfurion and Vala. So we are going to see the Tranquility coming in and the Rain of Vengeance coming in on that side. Holy Bananas, though, they have a couple times that could be varied. We are seeing the Rain as Raider as opposed to the Hyperion and the Lornado coming in.
I'm very curious to see how the Bananas are going to play the next few shrines, because their own setup is much more execution heavy than what we see from Roll20. Roll20 has an incredibly solid, powerful draft that is very difficult to break through. The sustain now with also Tranquility on Malfurion's side is fantastic. You added CC with the Rain of Vengeance that we are seeing from Vala, and going into that lineup is difficult for the Bananas since they can't really poke too much. They need to make that engage with the Nubrak at some point, and here he comes, going straight for Robodova again. The lockdown is there. Lornado coming out too. They're trying to go for Diablo, and if they can take Robodova down, that would be amazing start for them here, and they actually do. That's the Souls reset just as the shrine spawns. Arrow comes in, their next stun, Malfurion, Shad, goes down as well. The Bananas with a double kill.
They go for everything there, dropping the cocoon post the kill on Diablo to try and engage Vala. Vala is able to vault away, but Malfurion, positioning himself to help, ends up being punished by the follow-up engage from a Nubarak. And the double kill, like you say, for Holy Bananas. Diablo's already back thanks to Souls. This has been a great distraction for this Shaman camp.
That was insane. Resetting the Souls on Diablo alone is already fantastic as the Shrine spawns, but then getting the second kill against Malfurion on top of it too is just absolutely fantastic for them. Roll20 now, gonna try and re-engage here, but they burned so many of their heroics as well, especially Tassadar not having access to his level 10 ability is a nightmare for them going into this battle.
As we see the Shrine just being easily cleared up by Holy Bananas. No reactions coming in here from Roll20. They're busy cleaning up the Shaman. They're busy soaking experience, trying to get level 13, which they might hit first because they have been split soaking. But structure damage and structure kills will even this up a bit.
This is definitely where experience comes into play for Roll20, but, well, we're going to talk about that in a moment. For now, let's focus on Alphabet, who was actually making an engage to that backline, but Roll20 paying attention to it and not getting caught off guard. Ulf not able to connect the drag here, but they're aggressively invading the fort now.
Dragon Arrow strikes Urel. They've got a great stun lock on her. She had no chance.
This is exactly what we talked about earlier, this willingness to be aggressive, to go for a target. It was beautiful. You wait for the Punisher proc. They went in with a Nuburak immediately. Earth not hesitating for a single moment here. All right behind him for the drag, the arrow coming out, and then the quick kill. The Nuburak plays from the Bananas, even without another sustain hero at his side, are absolutely fantastic and spot on.
You don't have to sustain against a dead man, Caldor. That is the mantra of Holy Bananas right now. Nuburak does get rooted, but Ulf easily able to pull back to safety as his team pushes bot lane.
I want to come back quickly, though, to these plays that we have seen before. If you look at the experience right now, the Bananas are only just tiny little bit ahead, and it's mainly because they took down the fort in the middle. And this is what I meant earlier with experience. Roll20 managed to get an experience lead despite the fact that they lost the fight and that the opponent took the objective. And this is because the Bananas neglected to soak the bot lane. Roll20 split out on several lanes, and it's a mistake that the leftovers, when they just came into HGC, made as well. They had problems rotating onto the lanes and just keeping up with the lane soak. And that's something that we can see on the side of the Bananas too. Doesn't make the biggest difference right now. They're still ahead thanks to their great team fights and them controlling the second objective. But it's something to keep in mind because it's a way for Roll20 to get ahead or at least keep up with them.
Noob gets engaged on, but a good turnaround with the Impale here. Now, they have to be careful of Urel when she joins this fight. She has taken the Aldor Peacekeeper, so if she gets into that backline, that is going to be a nightmare for the Holy Bananas, who are very reliant on that follow-up damage from Reyna and Hanzo. So being able to get that 30% damage reduction could be clutch. So the peeling's more important than ever.
Roll20 is a bit afraid here. They're running the 4-man at this point, down at the bot lane with the double support, but they're not willing to engage into a fight. Lonedo being thrown out again. It's on a short cooldown, so you can definitely just move that out to try and see if you can maybe catch someone and get the kill there. But it's the Bananas who are currently running the show. They are the aggressive ones. They show the initiative. They show the plays. And Roll20 is playing very reactionary.
They're creeping forward, trying to make the play. Robodoma and Chris both knocked up, but they're able to dodge Scroll of Sealing, or at least Chris is. Robodoma turning around, already low, but gets the armor applied by Zarmony. They're diving forward with that Archon. Nice lightning breath coming in, and Earth is taken out.
Earth is taken out, but the drag connects against Zarmony, the Ardent Defender, in the last moment here. Ulf again with a play attempt. He gets flipped over as Robodoma is looking for the second kill. Again, the Lonedo coming out, trying to protect him here, but Dehaka still in trouble. Juking them out as much as he can.
Tiniest.
No, it's not enough.
Right at the gate, Diablo says no, and Robodoma shuts him down. But that was a fantastic turnaround from Roll20, losing the first member, but a quick turnaround there.
And now, of course, the Shrine access for Roll20 very early here, and they have another 20-second window until the Haka is going to be back. That's an easy Punisher for the team in blue. The Bananas will have to try and soak experience so that they can at least defend with the level 16 talent here.
The Diablo dives. We've already talked about this, but you only have a Decade, and Nuburak is the tankiest tank. This is why you'll need a Urel. If you're not the one being the aggressor, a Nuburak can be a big detriment in terms of survivability.
Absolutely. I have to admit that for game one, I would have loved to see a bit more of a draft from the Holy Bananas that is less execution heavy. because they definitely have the skills to pull it off. We've seen it in the previous fights. But risking this already in game number 1 is definitely a bit of a statement, and that's where I would have loved for them to just like settle into this match a bit before they do it. But now it's still 4 kills against 4, and they have shown great execution. But Roll20 is definitely fighting back.
Potions being applied. Holy Banana still showing map dominance. They take down the fort with only a token effort of the defense from Roll20.
Again, look at the bot lane. Massive, massive wave cut just crushing in. And that's a huge amount of experience that is actually lost for the Holy Bananas. So this is a double wave that is now nearly completely annihilated before someone will arrive to soak the XP. So this is one of the issues that I highlighted a bit earlier, that you oftentimes run into that problem with unexperienced teams from the open division, where they're focusing heavily on the team fights, but they're missing out on lane rotation to get the experience.
Look at Valor, committed to killing a Nubarak here, who is the easiest engaged target, going with Manticore at level 16 as opposed to the more common Frost shots. We will see Roll20 pick up the Punisher here. Holy Bananas hover around the area. They were looking for a snipe, but they don't find anyone.
So Bananas lost 3 waves at their bot lane. 3 minion waves. They're still in an experience range, but now Roll20 is moving in and starts to take structures, and that means that they are quickly going to catch up in XP and even overtake their opponent. Now their Haka, of course, is using his globals. This is one of the great tools that the Holy Bananas have to make up for these problems with the lane soak that they have, to keep the Haka at the top lane for as long as possible and soak the extra experience. But Roll20 will already call, watch out for the Haka, watch out for the Burrow.
Dark has already ported back, in fact. He knows he's not going to get a good angle here. He's just going to join his team. Earth has the Burrow charge away, but Robodova's still in position. Punisher causing mayhem in the backline. Lightning Breath being used here more as a zoning tool and a commitment onto Alpha. He tanks through Drag just short, even with the elongated tongue.
Again, arrow coming out here, hitting the back line. Shad is being hit by it. Ulf, by the way, with a great burrow, making sure that he is not being hit by the Rain of Vengeance. The keep is still in play, and that was the important part. Earth being punished by Quatnix on the Tacita. Again, the drag missing as Roll20 is still sieging up.
They're pinging in damage over and over again. We are going to see that keep survive. But Holy Bananas, they were desperate to look for some kind of turnaround play.
Now, granted, there is now level 16 around, and this is actually fantastic for the Bananas, since they're now in a spot where they, for example, have on Earth with this Anubarak, the epicenter. Makes it way easier for him to get these engages. Horadric's Staff is another great tool if you want to get those extra stuns in. So there's a couple of fantastic tools on 16. I mean, for both teams, obviously, but when it comes to that engage that the Bananas are looking for, it's made easier for Earth to make these plays now that they have 16.
And these two teams have been so close in experience all game. So rare has there been an advantage gained either side. Level 18 just around the corner for Bananas. They will grab this. And like you said, the epicenter, the elongated tongue, the Horadric Staff as a follow-up, they have all these extra engage tools on top of what they already had. But right now, Roll20 were the ones applying the pressure, so they weren't able to react with them yet.
Yeah, this came down to those kills just before the objective spawns. I mean, if you look at it, they were actually the same situation twice. Once we had the Bananas get this double kill as the Shrine spawns and able to then get the objective, and then just the next Punisher, it was Roll20 who made more or less the same play. They got the team fight, they got the kills they wanted, and then could take a Punisher just off that. And now, of course, it comes down to trying and set up some traps here, trying to just like play the cautious game with the Haka at the bot lane, on the off lane, getting that experience, working towards level 20, and looking to see if you can maybe snipe someone off the map, but at the same time, playing cautious enough that you don't run into a trap yourself.
Arrows coming out from Guru, but he needs some Psy Storms, so has to pull back here. Like you said, cautious seems to be the name of the game for Holy Bananas. They're trying to play so far back. Tass actually rotates to the bot lane, keeps the pressure onto Anubarak. Any damage done to that keep is all setting up for later game.
Also, I mean, when we talk about the Holy Bananas, some of those players have been around since Alpha. I mean, Zhu, for example, has been playing this game for ages. Still, that does not necessarily mean that you have the competitive experience within an esports environment that is needed to keep that calm head right now in these games, in this best of 7. Another camp taken. Bananas with a bit of a pressure play at the bot lane. They can take the fort here. That would be great to catch up in experience, because their concern at this point is definitely that level 20 talent that Roll20 could get pretty soon.
They're creeping forward. Psystorms once again trying to be a little bit irritating and slightly whittle down that lower health Hanzo. Nubarak, Burrow Charge is out. Engage tool is lost just to escape here. But they've already weakened that fort, so still gaining some value.
Yeah, they're not getting the experience for 20 though. That's where the Haka now comes into play. He's taken the top lane, but Urel is already on the shrine. And now the idea for the Bananas is get the mid lane wave, get the top wave with the Haka, hope for an early 20, and then go in and play against Roll20 on the shrine itself. But Roll20 has such a small lead, and look at it. They have 20. It's perfect for Roll20. It couldn't be any better.
This is literally the Roll20 natural 20 as they move forward. Keeping position 17-12. Holy bananas, sniping away some shots there with Hanzo, keeping themselves in this fight. That was incredible.
But they don't have storm talents and they're getting poked down right now. They have to make the choice. Do you give it up here? Do you give it up or do you actually try and take that fight? 27 against 17. Already mid lane wave is about to be taken. They're trying to get the experience here, but they will have to give that up eventually, I feel.
Trickle XP might get them, but it's too late. 37, 38 to 19. And Roll20 will take yet another Punisher.
You have a fort in the mid lane, you have that keep, so there's a good chance for the Bananas to defend, but that was an absolute clutch moment. They were willing to toe the line the entire time. It was a risky move too.
Yeah.
If at any point Diablo gets the engage, Roll20 can force a fight on Storm Talent advantages. Now that didn't really work out, but the Bananas will try to at least hold on to their keep here for the second time.
More CC follow-up. Bullseye was taken by Hanzo. This could be incredible. Earth not hitting the 4 hit. This is such a huge deal as they turn around. Oh, eats a little bit of damage, but Nature Blessing's already been dropped as they look for the turnaround with the Lightning Breath. But it's getting nothing here with that Contagion. Not only hitting Zarmany, so not getting the value of the spreaded silence as they get rid of Hanzo.
Guru goes down, and now the engage again. Roll20, they want to go for a game here. Great engage once more by the blue team as they take Hanzo down, and that Punisher is still doing work. 9%. It's all about holding the core at this point, and Holy Bananas are trying to defend. They're sitting here. They go in with a Cocoon, and here comes Earth with the engage.
Zarmany with the Seraphim immediately pops the Ardent Defender to keep him alive as Earth is getting targeted while the core is being taken down by Valor. Tassadar with the Twilight Archon is out of the Cocoon as the core is dropping. Earth with a last-ditch effort dives in there trying to hold this. Robodoma goes down. That is the first kill, but Zarmany's so healthy. Chris is uncontested, but Gugush is doing so much damage.
And they're taking them down. Nubarak has fallen. Earth is dead, but so is nearly everyone on the side of Roll20. Down goes the last one, and that is a full wipe as the Bananas are sitting on 37% on their core. A hard-fought defense after Hanzo fell, but they pull it off.
And Uberak's still dead for 40 seconds, but so is everyone on Roll20 except for Diablo, because yay souls. But he's now squishing Diablo. If they find him on the map, look at him. He has to live in base now, because if they find him on the map with their composition, even without a Uberak, Diablo's dead for 50+ seconds.
I mean, seriously, if you're Quacknix, the one thing that you tell Robodoba is like, take your hands off the keyboard.
Hands up.
Just sit there, don't do anything, make sure that you're going to get
on your hands.
Don't get disconnected for AFK, but outside of that, don't do anything.
Yeah, you have one rule, don't die.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do anything anyways right now, just don't die. No, but like, the cool thing here was actually, earlier, just before we saw that last big fight, Earth wanted to make an engage, but he got interrupted by Urel who pushed him back, and that was an unintentional interrupt even on Zarmany's end. So from Earth's perspective, that was super unfortunate, and that forced them back again. The keep gets taken down, and then that massive attack happened where Hanzo falls, and then the core gets attacked. The Banana still holding on to this, and I have to stress it again. Them going for composition that needs so much execution compared to what we're seeing on Roll20's part here is very impressive, but the risk of pulling that off in game one is something that is absolutely incredibly high. They still rolled the dice here. So far they find themselves behind, but you have to give that team some credit. I mean, they are really bringing the fight in this game.
They're doing what they need to, and Gugush especially. The amount of aggression has given him so much freedom to just do whatever he wants in these team fights most times. Hanzo seems to be the one getting targeted as he is squishier, and Reyna has just been, well, raining the pain.
Yeah, Reyna currently sitting at 52,000 damage. Guru and his Hanzo at 67k. Wow. If you look towards Chris, he's sitting at 59. So all three of them pretty high up there. Great first game for the series. Absolutely fantastic. And Roll20 definitely showcasing, yes, Quacknix is going to retire from the team in the near future after this, but he wants his team to stay in the league. He is currently just playing his heart out on the Tassadar. Chris is doing whatever he can to make this possible. They want to stay in HGC, And now it might come down to this last and final shrine up here at the top, 23 minutes into the game.
Mid is equal, which means that's going to start accumulating catapults for the Roll20 esports team as they take out the fallen Shaman camp of the Holy Bananas. Now, Holy Bananas, they need to win a fight or take the objective within enough time to go and deal with the catapults.
Massive bot lane pressure at the same time through a camp. We're going to see how much damage that's going to do, but of course this up here at the top is the big one. There comes the immediate move as Robodoba actually gets stung by Ulf, but Malfurion is ready for it. Arrow comes through, they go for Robodoba again. Diablo doesn't have the souls, and he goes down. The Bananas with a kill.
The cocoon on Tassadar as well. Meteorel has nothing. She goes down without a defender taken as well. Shad is in trouble, pulling back, gets sniped by Gugush.
It's banana time as we are having 3 down already. Roll20 only with 2 on the map right now, and they're immediately rotating. They're pressuring mid lane at this point. Bananas have a fantastic position now, but they still need to be careful. They're 37% on the core, and already the Haka in the mid lane here. Roll20 playing with a vision, trying to buy time for the rest of the team as the bot lane is pushing, and the top Punisher is now taken.
If they're not careful, then Vala and Tassadar will end this game. They have the sustain using those shields from Tass, and they are trying to threaten this. They want to force more members back so that their team has time to clear up the objective.
Hanzo is already back. He's going to help out with this.
No play
Chris and Quacknix, they can't defend either. And here comes the play. Guru goes in. They're trying to make the kill happen against Chris. The shields are there.
Chris.
So close. Nearly a kill against Guru. And in the meantime, the Punisher is pushing topside.
The catapults are grouping up. Are Valor and Tassadar going to keep pushing, or are they giving this up? Looks like they're going to move back and port. They've bought time for their team to port back. Hanzo does not have play of the game.
But Holy Bananas, they cannot necessarily end this right now because the problem is they only have 3 heroes at the top. Another attack through the middle with Vala and Tassadar. They're still there.
This is so smart. Oh! That could have been a great turnaround. He's trying to stop the ports. So his team has a chance. It's a 4 versus 3 in this bottom lane as Tahaka has joined his team. Can they end this? The Cocoon's on Urel.
The Cocoon is there. They're going for the core. It's down to 60%. That Punisher is still wreaking havoc here. They're going for it, and it looks like they can do it.
They've done it.
Bananas go for it, and this is game as the Bananas. What? No.
Oh, that took a long time.
They take down the last percent. The Bananas with the win in game number 1.
Oh boy, that was close.
That one on the core was there for a long time.
That was the longest time we've seen a 1% on the core outside of 1% core throws. But in this case, nicely done by Holy Bananas. I will say, to their benefit, I love that play from Chris and Quacknix in that middle lane to keep the pressure on. I wish they committed more. I think going for the core, they maybe could have outraced if they committed earlier.
See, I think the opposite here.
You think they should have poured it back?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Just as long as they made the decision, either way, I don't mind.
Yes. I like the decision to go there in the first place. That was great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
You forced the Haka back, and then once you see Hanzo, that's the moment when I'm like, okay, go away, portal. Then you have a 5 versus 3 defense where you still have, I mean, the Haka can burrow in, he's going to be there a bit faster, but it's going to take some time for Hanzo to really make the move over. So in that case, I would have loved for them to move back quicker, because I think after the 3 catapults that got stacked in the mid lane, got eliminated, your chances of actually coring are very, very slim outside of your opponent messing up. But again, you're playing against a team that doesn't really have the experience.
As long as they'd made the decision either way, I would have been really happy.
Yeah.
Just so that they had shown the commitment of, if we attack, maybe we can outrace the core. Force Hanzo away from the catapults maybe to fight us would have been good. Or if they poured it back, Vala's the main damage dealer. They need her to kill the Immortal.
Now, I have to immediately say a couple of things here. Because the first thing is, I mean, huge kudos to the Bananas. We've been going on over this in the draft and in the game. Pulling that draft out in game number 1 with how execution heavy it is and how little margin for error you have compared to what you go up against with a double support Vala, a Urel and a Diablo, that is taking a lot of guts to actually commit to that draft. And they not only committed to it in the first game, when nerfs are usually the biggest issue, but they also pulled it off. And that was incredibly impressive to me personally.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them for this one. Then again, we're coming back to Nubarak. It's what you already highlighted earlier. We talked about this, how dominant Nubarak was for them in the open division, and we can see why. Earth pulling that off without anything else on his side, no bunker, no Urel, no extra armor, just with the help of that Deckard Cain in the back was incredibly impressive. He played great on that hero. And I want to see if Roll20 is going to target that. And then, if that happens, we will have to see if Holy Bananas can actually make up on the promise they made, where they said, hey, if Nubarak is banned against us, we're fine. We still got other tools. We practiced for this. But let's see if Roll20 even targets that hero.
Well, let's find out where the battleground is going to be targeted first, though, as we see whether Roll20 will be opting for the map choice or first pick. They opt for the map choice here, taking us to Dragonshy.
Quackney's taking Dragonshy here. Usually a map that he tries to avoid.
Yep.
But very different scenario here. But that last game, give me 5 more of those and I'm happy.
I would agree. I'd be very happy with that. That was so close. Even XP, basically the entire game, I was chuffed.
Yeah.
But in terms of Dragonshy, this is one of the weaker maps from Holy Bananas, only a 60% win rate. They had very positive win rates throughout the entire season, but most of their win rates are in like the 80s and 70%. This is one of the weaker.
I mean, right now I look at the map and the first thought that I have, I mean, I have 2 heroes that I want to talk about immediately. The first one is right away, Nubarak. What are we going to do with that?
Yep.
Is that going to be targeted? Is it something that Roll20 lets through? Is it even something that the Bananas want to play here? But more so than Nubarak, I'm actually looking to Dehaka again. Olf played, when he subbed in for Granite Gaming, Dehaka a lot. He was fantastic on the hero. Then you look at the last game that he just played, and again, great performance. A couple of his drags led to immediate kills. Good performance from him. So if he gets Dehaka again on a map where a global even so more has an impact on the way the map is being played, I can see that being a huge asset for them. So I want to see if that is getting addressed in any way from Roll20. Maybe as an early pick for themselves for Harmony instead of a Urel, could be banned out. Or if they are just saying like, nah, you can have it, we just want a composition that we are happy with.
That could be interesting. Like you said, the Dehaka, once again, Harmony has been very leaning on this Urel all season. It's responsible for the majority of their wins, but also is their most picked hero overall with 27 games overall. So it'll be interesting to see him adjust. This Dehaka has 10 games and it's 1-9, which is obviously significantly worse. But if you feel comfortable enough on it that you feel it's better for you to have it than your opponent, then the Dehaka is still a